remember all his boxing skills.
Through 2 rounds, punches thrown, Gonzalez 78 more than Diaz and more accurate. Stumble. It was a right jab by Gonzalez. I don't think it hurt Diaz, though now he's backed up to the ropes. He stumbled backwards. I just thought he was more off balance than anything else.
See, Gonzalez is a very heavy-handed puncher, but this is a different Chiquita Gonzalez. For our viewers that have seen him on regional cable TV out in the West, who are watching him now, and Chiquita hasn't always been shown everywhere in the United States, they've seen a Gonzalez who looks for one punch, power punch, to get people out. In the last few fights, he's been the puncher, the boxer puncher.
Very sharp, coming from all angles and countering well. Whenever Diaz gets anything going, Gonzalez has been able to counter very quick. Very businesslike in there is Humberto Chiquita Gonzalez. Superb left hand.
Superb performance. And the reason we say that is because we didn't just try and build up Diaz's references. He's been in against very tough guys, gone the distance. He had a fight this year against Eric Griffin, the Olympian from the United States, who got robbed of an Olympic gold medal. Went 10 rounds with him in a match that many people, including Diaz, believe he won in Las Vegas. And that's a tough guy. Griffin, a guy being mentioned as an opponent for Carbajal or whoever's champion in the next year or so.
A couple of good left hands by Gonzalez. His combinations have been very good at Chiquita Gonzalez.
They wanted Diaz to give him a little more movement side to side. He's not been able to really do that. See how he's standing in front of Gonzalez, and that's why he's getting whacked with those punches.
Good right hand. That's what I mean about able to counter. Diaz has landed some good punches, but usually when he finishes off a flurry, the last punch thrown is won by Gonzalez. Good combination by Gonzalez, 3-punch combination, and I think it shook Diaz a little bit.
See, the way Gonzalez has been fighting into and since the Carbajal fight, I'll tell you what, it's going to take the only guy in this division who is in a position to beat him right now is Michael Carbajal, who I think is one of the 5 or 6 best boxers pound for pound in the world.
Time winding down in the 3rd round, and the former champion Chiquita Gonzalez looking sharp.
Here's the good counter-punching by Gonzalez, throwing combinations, and then he followed that up with 3 more counter shots. Boy, power punches in this fight. How about this, Stam? Look at that statistic.
115 for Gonzalez, 42 for Diaz.
Wow.
And in the 3rd round, look at that. Almost twice as many punches thrown by Gonzalez to Diaz, and the accuracy much higher. And the former champion looks like championship caliber in the ring tonight. Looking very, very sharp.
Diaz
upstairs, once again downstairs.
You know, Diaz sparred with Michael Carbajal to get Gonzalez ready for the to get Carbajal rather ready for the Gonzalez fight. There also may be a little ill will here because I don't think Gonzalez was happy that a fellow countryman helped get Carbajal ready for him. You could see why they wanted Diaz to spar, because he could emulate Gonzalez's style, certainly.
What I found interesting is you and I were talking before we went on, and you said the Carbajal people were wishing Diaz well. They told him they thought Diaz had a chance to win. Why would they want Gonzalez to lose with the big money payday on the line?
But that's so typical. That was, by the way, an exchange of good right hooks there by both men. And now you can see why Diaz is a quality fighter. He's getting in some counter shots, moving well against Gonzalez, doing what he wanted to do. That's still typical of Danny Carbajal, though. Not even thinking of the big payday. Just saying, well, this guy worked with us. I'm going to wish him luck and help him in any way I can. Not even thinking so much about the potential big money fight.
$1 million payday coming up for Michael Carbajal early next year when he takes on Chiquita Gonzalez in their 2nd meeting. The first one won by Carbajal earlier this year.
If it's anything like the first fight, it will be good.
And we welcome you to Caesars in Atlantic City. You're watching Top Rank Boxing, and the former flyweight champion of the world, light flyweight champion, Humberto Chiquita González in the gold trunks. In the white trunks, Armando Diaz. We are in round 4, scheduled for 10. Tonight, our main event is the IBF Cruiserweight Championship fight with Al Cole defending against Vincent Boulware. Glad you're with us on Top Rank Boxing. After a good night of NIT basketball, which will continue at midnight tonight Eastern Time.
More midnight madness. It hasn't been madness for Gonzalez here. He has been performing extremely well against Armando Diaz, who is a very good boxer in his own right, but he has not been up to the champion.
So we're getting set for round 5. As you look at Armando Diaz taking on the former champion, Humberto Chiquita González. González lost the title earlier this year in Las Vegas to Michael Carbajal. Carbajal stopping him in the 7th round for the WBC and IBF titles. WBC title was held by Chiquita González. The IBF title held by Michael Carbajal. Now has 2. And they are set for a rematch early next year. Total punches thrown through 4 rounds. Lots more by Chiquita González, and he's been very accurate. He's fought very, very well. Has really looked sharp in this fight.
He's been excellent, and the man he's fighting, 24-year-old Armando Diaz, has not been able to employ the battle plan that they wanted him to employ, and that is a lot of movement, a lot of hand speed, and confuse González, who previously was more of a plotting fighter, but as we've pointed out, is throwing a lot more combinations and a lot sharper with his punches now than he was maybe a year or so ago. Because even when he was champion and winning, he was scoring a lot of knockouts and much more of just a power puncher.
Armando Diaz started the fight right-handed, switched to southpaw, had been fighting the last 3.5 rounds southpaw, switched back right-handed, now he's back to southpaw. So trying to give González different looks, but really has been ineffective because González is so quick with his combinations.
This is as good. The combination punching González showed in the Carbajal fight, which was really special, continues here tonight and continued in his 10-round win that he had just after the Carbajal fight against Pablo Tiznado. And it's a new Chiquita González. I'm not saying he didn't do this before, but he never did it as consistently as he's doing it tonight, and as he's been doing it in the last couple of fights. And you know, a lot of people were actually writing him off totally before the Carbajal fight. In fact, even Carbajal they were whispering about. And in that fight and since then, both men have looked spectacular.
Good right hand. Right now, González pounding Diaz, who's trying to answer back. Languishing on the ropes. Now he fights his way off. Sharp jab by González.
Give Diaz credit. Those are the kind of punches González was used to knocking people out with, and Diaz just didn't go anywhere. It's an excellent bout. The crowd here, as was the case last week in our fight with Harold Brazier and Kevin Pompey, apparently all took Valiums before they came here because they haven't cheered once for reasons known only to them.
And the place is packed, but it's a very, very quiet crowd watching a fine performance on the part of Humberto Chiquita González. End of round 5.
Now, Armando Diaz did not win that round, but this shows you what he's capable of, counterpunching off the ropes after he had taken a real pasting from González.
Round 6 scheduled for 10.
I mentioned earlier, and the Bears repeating, Diaz beat Jose Cepeda, a guy that you and I saw beat Scotty Olsen for the NABF crown. And it's a very tough guy. He beat him earlier in his career. He went 10 with Alfred Cote. He went 10 recently with Eric Griffin, and many people feel he won that fight, but he didn't get the decision.
Punches in round 5, consistently almost double by González over Diaz.
And González now cut. Oh my, that's a bad one over his left eye.
There's trouble.
Well, I'll tell you what. His promoters from the Forum, John Jackson and matchmaker Tony Curtis, are in the crowd. They're nervous right now. as is everyone connected with the Carbajal fight, because they look at that and they say, this could be trouble. We don't know if it came from a clash of heads. We didn't see any sign of that or any sign from the referee. Gonzalez will go after him now, Sam.
Diaz continues to battle. He lands his punches. Gonzalez usually comes back with a flurry of punches. Like that. And Diaz scores. Blood dripping down the left side of the face of Humberto Gonzalez. Doesn't seem to be in a real bad position. Looks like it's the corner of the left eye, and it doesn't seem to be bothering Humberto Gonzalez.
Huge hooks by Gonzalez.
Sam Rosenau, Bernstein, live at Caesars in Atlantic City. This is Top Rank Boxing. You're watching Humberto Chiquita Gonzalez in the gold trunks. Armando Diaz in the white. This is round 6, scheduled for 10 flyweights in the ring. Former champion is Humberto Gonzalez. And he's got a cut over his left eye. He's been dominating this fight on our scorecards.
And having a huge 6th round, but that cut certainly is a big problem for him if they didn't decide that it was a clash of heads that caused it. And he is trying to land overhand right. Right now, a lot of nervous people, some nervous people in Phoenix, Michael Carbajal and company, who have that rematch plan with Gonzalez. The promoters here probably have a little anxiety at ringside. And Gonzalez himself knows that he's got to make something happen here.
Looking at $1 million payday for the champion Michael Carbajal, and certainly Gonzalez will get a huge payday for that one as well. And I say huge in relative terms for fighters at this weight. Usually don't make all that much money, but they put on some good fights, and Gonzalez Carbajal 1 was a good one. They're looking forward to a rematch. Now they will look at the cut at the corner of the left eye of Chiquita Gonzalez. You see it's off to the side. Shouldn't really bother him, Al, I don't think.
Now that one they should be able to handle. While it was bleeding, it looked like it was in a worse spot.
Very quiet. Not overly concerned in the corner, just working at it. Vaseline goes on. And Gonzalez seems to be calm and doesn't seem to be concerned.
Robert Stein in there working on the cut.
Okay. There's a sharp right hand. Did that do it, Al?
A right hand from Diaz may have been the punch, we think, because shortly after that is when the blood started flowing. And so that probably was the place at which the cut was created.
This is round 7, scheduled for 10. There have been no knockdowns. But a very sharp performance by the former champion Chiquita Gonzalez. He's thrown over 600 punches, landed more than half. Been very effective from all angles with all types of punches.
Producer Kenny Dennis tells us that we have just found on tape a clash of heads that we now think might have been where the cut happened, and I'm sure we'll get a chance to show that to you.
Nice combination by Gonzalez. Just working over Diaz. Our scorecard, shutout. 6 rounds, all to Gonzalez.
And ironically, the competitiveness of this fight is not demonstrated by that scorecard.
The cut is opened up again, and now bleeding more profusely than before.
I know it must be opened up because your notes are covered with it at ringside.
Diaz looks like he slowed down a little bit, Al.
Yeah, he's been taking tremendous punishment from Gonzalez. Rafael Mendoza, his manager, really feels that Chiquita Gonzalez is approaching his prime. He thinks he's getting to be a better fighter. Using his combinations more, and we've seen evidence of it. Doing everything better, even than when he was champion, because as he said, big punchers, and he used to manage Pepino Cuevas, get to a point, he said, where they just feel they're going to knock people out with one punch, and they forget their boxing skills.
That cut now looking pretty nasty. Yeah. on Chiquita González.
And remember, there was no indication